What's up, guys? My name is DJ Swivel, and we are back for another episode of Just the Tips. This week, we're going to be talking about vocal production and vocal recording. How do I get the best vocal performance I can out of an artist? Stay tuned. What's up, guys? I'm DJ Swivel, and like I said in the intro, I'm back for another week of Just the Tips, and we are talking all about vocal production, vocal recording. How do you do it? How do you get a great vocal? And what are some of the tips and tricks that I use to get a great vocal? I've had the pleasure and privilege to work with some of the best vocal producers and most talented artists in the world, and so I've learned a lot of incredible information from these artists and producers that I've sort of concentrated down to sort of the key tips and tricks that I use to get a great vocal. So where do we start? Well, like with anything, your vocal cords are a muscle, and so you want to stretch those out. And, if you were going to work out or you're going to go play a game of football, you wouldn't just jump on the field cold. You would want to do some stretches and warm up and get your blood pumping and your heart moving. So we do the same with the voice. And so we want to make sure that the artist is doing their vocal warm-ups, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes, just to get a little loose and get ready to record. At the same time, often I'll give artists maybe some herbal tea with some honey. Another little secret or little trick is like oily, salty potato chips. The oil in potato chips will act as a throat coat, which really helps warm up the voice. And these are just some little things that you can do. Any sort of fatty, oily food is also helpful there. What you want to avoid is like dairy products, because that creates phlegm. Anything super sugary is going to create some phlegm, and that's not really good. It just doesn't sound good on a microphone. So once your artist is prepped, warmed up, and ready to go, you want to make sure they really know the song that they're about to record. Now, in some cases, the artist wrote it, so they know it inside and out. Often, though, they're singing a song that another songwriter wrote, or something that they wrote the same day, and so they're not fully familiar. They don't know all the lyrics. They haven't memorized it. So you want to make sure they know what the song is, because you can really tell on a microphone when an artist is reading a lyric versus just delivering a performance. And if they're reading a lyric, you're going to quickly find out that the energy in the performance and the dynamics of the performance are lost because they're worried about, did I get the word right? As soon as they memorize a song, now they can focus on, did I deliver it correctly? And that's when you get a magical performance. So the way that I typically get artists to learn a song is I will just sort of loop an entire song. I'll give them a record track like I have here, and I will just loop the entire song, and I'll just start recording from the top. And I don't care if they make mistakes. I don't care if they need to take a break. I just let it run 3 or 4 times so that they really learn the song. And while that's happening, I sort of use that to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. While that's happening, I'll set their, if they need to sing through autotune, which oftentimes we do, even if they don't need to. Sometimes you just sing through autotune anyways, just to hear what it's going to sound like in the end. This is sort of a common trick that every vocal producer will use. There's probably only 2 artists in my entire career, Beyonce being one of them, who does not use autotune. And it's not required at all. So I'll set the auto-tune, get that right. I'll give them a little bit of reverb that I have here. And if you saw in one of my previous videos, in my session template video, this is just sort of how I set up reverbs. I'll put them on a send. So here we've got the A reverb, which is a large hall. And sometimes I'll use some delay. In this case, on this song, I did not use any delay. And at the end of the day, that's all about artist preference. It's not what you want to hear, it's what the artist needs to hear. Sometimes they'll want their voice louder. You make sure you turn it up. Sometimes they want more reverb, less reverb. You want to make sure they're comfortable, because a comfortable artist is a happy artist, and a happy artist is going to deliver a great performance. So while I'm running the song back 3-4 times, I'm setting the levels on my preamp, and I have a preamp over here, and I'm just going to set the level on the microphone. If I need to do any minor corrective EQing, I won't do anything drastic when I'm recording in. And I'll usually have a compressor on there, just kissing the vocal, making sure we're taming it and capturing a good level vocal. So once that's done, we'll actually get to recording takes. Now, when I first started recording, I would punch a vocal. And punching is when you would sort of record a take, and let's say, so here's a take here. Let me just make this bigger. So here's a take of the second verse. And let's just say I didn't like this one line. Then I would go back and I would let the artist listen to the vocal and sing along. And then I can just punch in just to record that one line and then punch out. So that's how I used to record. And what I found is that artists will overthink the punch and they'll worry about one word, and it won't often be as natural as I'd like. And so what I switched to many years ago is just capturing a bunch of takes where I don't interrupt the artist. I might give them some direction after each take if I'm not hearing something, or if I want them to improve something, or I'm hearing a problem that they're doing over and over again. I will correct that after a take, but I really want them to kind of close their eyes, sing the song, and that's when you're going to get the best performance. So once everything's set, everything's ready to go, we'll start doing takes. And every artist is different. Sometimes I need to get 12 or 13 or 15 vocal takes. Other times I only need to get 3 or 4. And in this case, this is a song that I wrote with Candace Sosa and Nick from Digital Farm Animals. And in this case, on this second verse, on Candace's lead vocal, we got 6 takes of that lead vocal. And she's an incredible singer, and so I knew that after 6 takes, I had exactly what I needed for the perfect vocal. So let's dig in and just see, what she was doing on these takes and why I selected certain bits and how I do that. So I'll just start recording the 6 takes, and then I'll audition at the end. So let's audition through. And let's just go one by one, takes 1 through 6, and hear what she's doing, okay? Here we go.
I'm stuck inside this hell, yet I don't wanna leave.
Let's do that one more time.
I'm stuck inside this hell, yet I don't wanna leave.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm stuck inside this hell.
Okay, so right off the bat there, when you listen on I'm Stuck, she's got something in her voice, human noise, I call it. It's like a bit of saliva, a bit of something, throat noise, that doesn't sound that great on the microphone. So let's hear it one more time.
I'm stuck inside this hell.
And so that's probably not a take I'm going to use. All right, so let's move on.
I'm stuck inside this hell. Yet.
So this take was cool, but the I'm comes in a little bit late, and you would hear that more against the beat. I can actually unsolo this, and you'll hear it against the beat. Let's mute the chosen vocal.
I'm stuck inside this hell.
Might be hard to hear, but for me, that I'm comes in a little bit late, so we don't like that. Let's hear this one, and I'll go back to soloing.
I'm stuck inside this hell.
Same thing, the I'm doesn't really come through. It comes a little late. I don't really like that. Now, it looks like I ended up using these last 2 vocals. So let's see what's great about these last 2 vocals here.
I'm stuck inside this hell.
So I didn't use this vocal for the front, but I use it at the end. And we'll get to that in a second, why. Now let's listen to the last vocal, which is what it looks like I used for the beginning.
I'm stuck inside this hell.
Okay, so this vocal was great. And I like it because I'm not hearing any of that, human noise, the throat noise. And also her timing is great. Her delivery is great. She comes in strong. It feels like a great vocal. But there's one thing I didn't like about this line, and that's the last couple words here. Let's hear what's happening there.
I'm stuck inside this hell.
So what I'm hearing on the surface, and I can already hear it a cappella, is that when she sings
this hell,
she's holding this a little too long. And she's got some vibrato in there. which sounds like a little vocal flutter. And sometimes we want that, other times we don't. And in this case, she held that a little too long, and it means that the vocal's out of pocket. Now let's hear, we did end up using this fifth take. Let's hear what that's doing there.
I'm stuck inside this hell.
So this feels more confident, more concise, and it just seemed to make more sense in the performance. So what I would normally do, and I'm just going to sort of delete this for now. Let's get rid of that. And so what I would normally do in Pro Tools, this might be different. I know Logic does it a little differently. Your DAW is going to do it different. I'm just giving the general tips. You'll be able to figure out how you can achieve the same effect in your DAW. So anyways, I like this first couple lines, so let me just throw that up. I hit the up arrow and it takes it to my comp track. And I know I like this second line better. And then what I'll do before I forget is I'll do a little crossfade, because if you don't do the crossfade, you're going to hear little edits in the vocal, and it's just not going to sound great in the end. So let's hear that solo.
I'm stuck inside this hell, yet
So I love that. That sounds great. And this hell is the important thing there. It just feels concise. And I'll just play the other one more time, just so you can hear the difference between the two.
I'm stuck inside this hell.
Right? And now the one that we chose.
I'm stuck inside this hell.
I just like how it ends. So essentially, I'll do that for the entire vocal performance. But in this case, we're just looking at a second verse. And what you'll get is something that looks kind of like this. And it's just going to look like, a bunch of different takes. And you're going to go in, you're going to do your crossfades. And then once it's done and it sounds great, then I'll move that down to a mix track, which I have down here. And then I'll start mixing it. And I'll get it to sound right in context of the song. Whereas here, I just want it to sound right for the artist. So it's got to have her effects on it, whatever she wants, whatever Candace wanted in this case, I'll make sure that's there. So another thing that I want to show is just general vocal performance and vocal dynamics and vocal production. So how do I build a vocal for a complete song? Well, one thing that's really important is making sure that your song grows. I do this often. You don't have to do it in every song, but this is one of those tricks that I use to make sure that as a song goes on, if it's a 3-minute song, that it gradually feels like it grows and gets bigger, and there's dynamics, there's lifts, there's peaks, there's valleys. That's really important in making sure that your ear doesn't get bored when you're crafting a song. So one particular thing I want to show is the second half of the first verse, and then I want to compare that to the second half of the second verse. So let's mute let's make this inactive. We're not going to use this recorded track anymore. Here is the first verse, and let's just solo the second half of it. Matter of fact, I will play it against the beat.
You say that I need help. I tell you I need sleep. You wish I was somebody else. I hate that I can't see.
Okay, sounds great. Now let's listen to what we did in the second verse on the second half.
To go and seek.
Oh, let's play it with the beat.
To go and seek somehow. Bullshit fancy degree. A perfect version of myself to show me how to see every.
So what you'll hear is that the rhythm is the same. So there's familiarity to the first verse, but the melody changes. It lifts. It goes higher. Let me play both one more time, and I'll give a little more room for context.
You wish I was somebody else. I hate that I can't see every color.
Sorry, let's move that back one more time.
Else, I hate this side of me. You say that I need help. I tell you I need sleep. You wish I was somebody else. I hate that I can't see.
And again, let's try the second verse. What happens?
Somebody else, one who didn't need to go and seek somehow. bullshit fancy degree, a perfect version of myself to show me how to see every.
So that lift is really important because you don't want the listener to get bored. So the first verse, the second verse, they sound similar but different. And that second one has the build. So that's really key. All right. So after I record all of my lead vocals and I comp them all, then what I'll do is go on to background vocals. And I want to just show, in the case of the hook, I have these like long background stacks. And I just want you to hear what is going on. So first I'm going to play the hook as is, just so you get an idea of what's going on. And here we have what's called a call and response. So the call is the lead vocal is just a lead, and then the background vocals respond to it. And this is a very common, just a common thing in songwriting. So let's hear it.
And read, what's the matter with me? What's the matter with me? What's the matter with me? What's the matter? Just tell me now what I gotta do. What's the matter? I wanna know what's the matter with me. Stuck inside the.
Awesome. I love this song. It sounds great. Let's really dive into what these background vocals are doing. Okay, so the first four are a light unison vocal. Let's just hear what it's doing.
What's the matter? Tell me now what's the matter?
Okay, so that sounds great. They're light, they're airy. I have the first two, they're all doing the same note, so it's just 4 copies of the exact same vocal, but you have to record each one separately. That's what gives you that nice stereo image. If I just copied this down, it's just going to sound like a mono vocal if I copy that 4 times. So you can't really do that. You got to record it 4 times and make sure they all line up. And then I've got them panned out. The first 2 vocals, 100, 100, and the next 2, 80 and 80. Sounds good. All right, let's hear what the next 2 are doing. I know this is a 3-part harmony, so here's the second harmony layer.
What's the matter? Tell me now what's the matter?
Cool, so we have a different harmony, and let's hear what the last 2 are doing. So this is the 3rd harmony.
What's the matter? Tell me now what's the matter?
Awesome. Now, these 3 harmonies and 8 vocals, let's hear what they sound like together.
What's the matter? Tell me now what's the matter?
See how rich that sounds? You get like chords out of the vocals. And what I'll do is let me play just the first unison, and then I'll add the other harmonies as we go, just so you can hear how it changes the sound of the vocal. All right, here we go.
What's the matter? Tell me now what's the matter? Ooh, what's the matter? Tell me now what's the matter? What's the matter?
There you go. So that's what we need to do to build a really great vocal performance in a chorus. Now, again, every song is different. You don't have to do a 3-part harmony. Some songs don't require much, and some songs just require a lead. So you really want to, you know, take some references, figure out what type of song you're trying to make, and if you're trying to build a pop song that has like a big chorus, this is one of the ways that you can build that. Okay, so moving on. Once I finish recording all of my hook vocals, usually the last thing, the icing on the cake for a vocal for me, is the ad-libs at the end. And actually throughout the whole song. But if you want to build a song that grows and has a climax, typically coming out of the bridge, going into the final chorus, that will be the most climactic moment of your song. And so I have this ad-lib track here, and I just want to play it all in context so you can hear how we make that final chorus feel bigger than the rest of the song. All right? So I'm just going to play from the last couple bars of the bridge.
I've lost my mind. So what's the matter with me? What's the matter with me? Tell me now what's the matter with me? What's the matter? Just tell me now what I gotta do. What's the matter? I wanna know what's the matter with me.
There you go. So this is really, really important. If you want that last chorus to feel really big and strong, it's really key that you do something to lift that. And you can also make changes to the beat. So you might want to add some layers to the final chorus in your track. Maybe it's adding a synth or some strings or some bigger drums. You know, who knows? There's a million ways to skin this cat. But this is what I chose to do in this song. And you'll notice for the first two ad-libs, I've actually muted the main chorus vocal. This main chorus vocal is just flown. This is just a copy. The first, second, third, they're all the same. But to make the third a little bit different, I muted the first two, and we just let that lifted ad-lib live. And then in the second half, we actually bring back the original chorus, and this ad-lib chorus acts as a harmony. So you get this added lead harmony going on. And I'll play it one more time just so you can hear exactly what's going on.
I've lost my mind. So what's the matter with me? What's the matter with me? Tell me now, what's the matter with me? What's the matter? Just tell me now what I gotta do. What's the matter? I wanna know.
Oh, I love her vocals. She's always so great when it comes to doing this stuff. So anyways, and then once you have your ad-libs and you comp them all together, then you can start mixing your song. And this is a very typical way of how I build a pop record. But again, there are no rules. You know, figure out what works for you. Figure out, most importantly, what works for the song and what works for the artist. And then just try to execute at a really high level. So that's just the tips for this week. Vocal recording. At some point, we're going to get into vocal mixing. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.